Erik, what are you hearing about what Congress is saying about any extension of that extra $600 a week in unemployment benefits?
I think we're seeing a softening of the Republican and White House opposition to that idea. Initially, when it looked like the reopenings were going to go more smoothly in the late spring, there was a lot of talk about just ending it because it would, at least according to economists, when you have the ability to go back to work, it creates a disincentive. There are parts of the country where people who are getting that unemployment benefit are taking in money that's much higher than their traditional or previous wages. So there was a lot of talk of just opposing that flatly. I'm seeing out of Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader, and others, an openness to something being in there, and a hearing from sources it could be $200 or $400, something that would put it more in line with what the actual wage structure looks like, but still, allow people to have this extra boost.
And so, Erik, I mean, with regards to what the Republicans are working on, is there a general sense here that whatever Mitch McConnell comes up with, is it going to be enough to appease the Democrats to get them to go along with it as well?
No, there's still a huge gap. I mean, McConnell and Republicans are talking about, at least from what I can gather, a maximum of $1 trillion for the entire bill, and this would include money for testing, for reopening schools, and everything else, maybe some state aid for those who lost revenue, and everything would have to compete under that cap. Democrats had put forward a $3.5 trillion, much more expansive plan, and that doesn't even include more recent calls for much more money to reopen schools. So I think there's going to be a big clash. Nancy Pelosi said, well, $1 trillion, that's not enough. She's looking to make that a floor and to go up from there. So whatever Republicans put forward will be step A. They might bring it to the Senate floor, see it fail, and then go to the back room and try to cobble something together. I don't see this getting resolved by the time unemployment extra benefits start to run out on the 26th of July, probably closer to the middle of August.
And within that, the middle of August is notable because they're meant to be breaking for recess come August the 10th. I'm interested, Erik, just how much disparity there is in the view within Republicans themselves, particularly as it's Republican states that are being so hit hard by COVID as it stands. Is there a varying degree of how much stimulus is therefore wanted?
Well, I think, this really much tracks along the lines of who is really a deficit hawk in the Republican Party. The president is not really. Lindsey Graham has come out saying, let's throw as much gasoline into this as possible and get the economy going. I think those closest to the White House are really in favor of a large, stimulus check of $1,200 per individual or larger, or a payroll tax. They really want to see some stimulus to make sure the president has a boost going into the election. Whereas you have more traditional deficit hawks, whether it's David Perdue or Marsha Blackburn or Mitt Romney, who are traditionally much more concerned about government spending, worried about the increased price tag, and are fighting those efforts. So whatever McConnell comes up with has to sort of appease both corners of his caucus. So there is very much an internal divide.